Hi, my name is Patrick, but you can call me 26. And what we're going to do in this section is we are going to build out our user view controller, right? So in the case that you find a user that you like, you can get more information about them and see more of their images, right? So the whole point of us not allowing the user to cycle through the images here is so that we can allow them to go into this page. And in this page, they also have the additional functionality of being able to block them. So this will be a reusable page. You'll be able to see a user, even after you match them, you'll be able to see this user, and you will be able to block or report any activity that you don't like about what they do, right? We're not going to be doing that here. We're just going to be putting up a very rudimentary way to show it, right? But let me just guide you through what you're going to see. We're going to create this custom back button, right? So instead of the usual chevron left with the name, we're just going to have this custom back button, which is just an SF symbol. And then we're going to make the image stretchy, right? This is for effect, something that Tinder actually does. And here we're going to see that this user, if you check, you see they have a crown, meaning that they are actually a VIP user. So if you're a VIP user, you get a crown, right? So you're going to build that functionality. Then you have the 4 images, and you can cycle through the user's images by clicking on them, right? So if you tap, you're going to see all the user's images, right? So these are the various images that the user has. And if you hit this button, you can either report or block side view, right? So if you report them, for now, that does nothing, right? So you report them. And if you block them, it's in destructive color, right? So block the name. So we have block Sadio. You can block him, and you can also cancel it, whichever you prefer. And then also here we have these buttons, and these buttons, you will notice that they're not affected by the stretchy scroll, right? They're put on top of the. They're not put on the. They don't scroll with the scroll view. Everything else scrolls with the scroll view, right? So these buttons are, you could dislike a user, or you could like a user. So you can like a user from this page, right? In case you come here and you see like images that you like, you could like them and dislike them, right? And also we have the page control shown here, right? So we have all these things, and that's what we're going to build in this section, and let's get to it. Now, what we're going to do is, let's see where we are first. So if we run our app, we're going to find that this is where we left things off. So this is where we are. And what we have is this page, blue, and then we have the chevron and the match here, right? What we want to do is we want to get rid of this first. We want to get rid of this match, and then replace the chevron left with a more customizable arrow, right? If you're comfortable with this arrow, you can leave it. If you want to keep the name, you could keep it. But what I want to do is I want to change it, right? And previously we had created this back button, and then we had applied it on our UI navigation bar, blah, 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 and so on, and also masked the image back, right? So we had done all this in the app delegate, and it should apply globally. But then, one thing you will notice is that we actually went and created our own navigation bar, right? Aside from this global navigation bar, we did create our own navigation bar, and we didn't tell it there that this navigation bar should have the back button, right? So we have this navigation bar which has the back button, right? But for our 4 pages, right? Let's just come here and explain this, right? So for these pages here, where we're creating this navigation bar with match, with profile, with matches, and with chats, we're creating another navigation bar, and we're not telling it the back button that is supposed to be applied on those navigation bars, right? So how we change it is just to call, I believe, a method on where we're creating this particular navigation bars and telling it what the back button should look like. Okay, so let's do that, and I believe that's in our extensions, and that's going to be, is it configure navigation bar? This is where we set the title, right? And let's do this here. Let's see if we can do it here, right? So let's come here and we say set back. Okay, maybe not here. Where is it? It's supposed to be put in the I think it's this one's for the view controller, but where we're setting the appearance, we come here and we say something like appearance dot set back indicator image. Yes, this one, right? We put it on the appearance, right? And for that, this is going to be the back, and we can't access it here. Just realize that. So what we would do is we would come to the app delegate, take this, cut the back button, put it somewhere where it can be accessed globally, right? So that it will be available here on the cases where we are. Okay, now that I think about it, we probably don't even need it here, right? Probably because if you think about it, we're not going to use it in all the other pages like the login controller. We probably won't use it. Oh yeah, we are going to use it because when you are navigating in the preferences and setting your preferences, we could use it there, right, for the back button. Okay, yeah. So we do need it here, but we also need it somewhere else. So how we're going to do that is, how we're going to square that off is we're going to put it in the constant so that it's available everywhere. So come here, put it in the constants, and now if we try and run it, wait, it's not going to work because there's still an error, right? Cannot find back button. Okay, it can't find it now. So the errors go away magically. Good. And where are we supposed to be? You're supposed to be in the extensions now. Now in the extensions here, let's just comment this out, make sure everything is working as a charm like it did. Okay, run that and see that it's actually going to work. This is going to work, so that's working. Everything is working as it should, no errors, right? But now we want the back button, so we put it here because it's in the extensions, we can access it here. And the back indicator image is going to be back button. The transition mask image is going to be back button, like so. Click on that, okay. And if we run this now, presumably, if we have done everything as it should, this should work for us, right? And it should also be available elsewhere. So it's available in the preference pages where we need the back button. Supposing you've filled in your name, but you want to change your email and you're not ready to move on with the current email, blah, blah. No, not email, but your name or your gender or your preference or your age. So you can move back. And when you do that, you're going to get the back button. And here, when you come here and you hit this, you're also going to get the back button, right? But now the next thing we need to do is we need to ditch the match, right? So we need to make sure that the particular page, we just want the back button, right? So it's going to communicate. And yeah, we just want this particular back button, right? But we do not want the word match. So that's what we're going to do next. The next thing is to get rid of the match. And for that, the match word when you're going back, right? And how you do it is from the page where you leave from to go to the particular page, you need to correct that, right? So how do you correct that? That's pretty straightforward if you ask me. Okay, so let's come here and the match controller, right? So we leave from the match controller and go into the other page, right? So what you do is in the view did load, you just want to say here, come here and you say something like navigation item dot back button title, and this is going to be an empty string, right? So you make this an empty string, and if you do that, presumably if we have done everything as it should be, we should be able to get this particular right? So you now get this, and it doesn't have the particular back button, the match, right? But if you want to keep match, you can leave it there. I think it's unnecessary. It's already down here, you can see, right? So that is that, right? Now, don't worry about why we don't have a title here. We're going to be making a couple of changes that you're going to see in a bit. So let's get to it, right? So what you're going to be working on, particularly for this video, is this, right? And this is going to be our user view controller. And the very first thing we want to do is we'd like to put a scroll view on it, right? Because you're going to be able to scroll on the page and see the particular image that is available on the page get bigger as you scroll, right? So let's do all that. It's going to require a bit of a couple of things, right? And what we need is going to have the lazy var. We're going to have a scroll view here, scroll view, like so. And the scroll view is going to be of type UI scroll view, like so. And we come here, and this is going to be, let SV is going to be, what's the SV? SV is going to be UI scroll view, like so. So we have our scroll view. Then after the scroll view, we're going to say SV dot always bounce vertical. This is going to be true. We set that to be true. Then we say SV dot content insert adjustment behavior. This is going to be, we don't want to adjust it, so we say never, like so. Then we come here and we say SV dot delegate is going to be self, like so. And then we're going to return SV, right? So that's that. We need this. It's going to complain. need to make this a scroll view, UI scroll view delegate, right? So UI scroll view delegate, right? So that's set as the UI scroll view delegate. Perfect, right? Now the next thing we need to do, we're going to have a couple of images, and you're going to be able to scroll over the user's images provided the user is a VIP, right? So we're going to make the feature for the VIPs and then later on restrict it for the 9 VIPs, right? That's how you normally do it with VIP features, right? So we say var alternative images, and alternative images is going to be UI image, like so, and then we're going to come here, do this, right? We have that, and then we say var image index is going to be integer, and it's going to be 0, right? So it's going to be the very first index, like so. Then we need our profile view image. We say var profile image view, or profile view image, whichever you want to call it, however you want to call it, right? It's going to be UI image view, like so. Come here, do that, do that. Think that should be second nature by now. Let IV is going to be UI image. It's going to be that. Then we say IV dot content mode, and that's going to be dot scale. Okay, spell it correctly. Dot scale aspect. We want fill as much as possible, and then we say IV dot clips to bounds. Right? That's going to be true, like so. Then we say IV dot image. What's the image? The image is going to be UI image, like so. This is going to be that. Then we say named, and what's the name? For now, since we are just filling it with data, let's just say Liverpool, right? Or whatever we call the image, right? What's the image called? The image is called the one of Sadio Mane. It's okay, Liverpool, but capitalized L, right? So we got that, and we need to return it. So let's just come here and we return it, and we say return IV, and we can proceed from there. Let's continue. Now, what's the next thing we need to do? We need to have our crown view, right? Now the crown view is going to be just to indicate that the user in question is actually a VIP user. It's going to be basically why they register for the in-app purchase, right? So what that is going to look like is we're going to come here and we say let crown view, and crown view is going to be UI view, like so, and we're going to come here and we are going to say okay, let's do that, right? And we say here it's going to be let background, and we're putting it on a background because it's going to be superimposed on the image, right? So since it's superimposed on the image, we need to give it a background, right? So the background is going to be a UI view, like so. Then we're going to say background dot set size, and what's the height? The height is going to be 32 by width of 32, so that's going to be that. Then we're going to say background, we need it round, so we say background dot layer dot corner radius is going to be 32/2, so that's going to be 16. Then we say background dot background color, and this is going to be dot white, like so. Then we're going to say let IV is going to be UI image view, like so, UI image view, like so, and we say let configuration, and the configuration is going to be UI image dot symbol configuration. Weight is going to be dot heavy, and that's going to be IV dot image is going to be UI image. System name is going to be crown, like so, and we're going to come here and say with configuration is going to be configuration, like so, and say with tint color, we want the tint color to be black. Rendering mode is dot always original. That is done, and then we're just going to say we put it on the background dot add sub view. What's a sub view? It's going to be IV, right? That's done. Then we say IV dot center, and what is it? Are we going to center? It's going to be in view, and the view is going to be background. That's done, and I think it needs us to return something, so let's come in and we say right? So we do that. Okay, so now we have our background, and now we need a number of lines. And rather than write them out, right, we could save ourselves a bit of time by going to, let's go to our card view, right? Let's go to our card view. We just need, the lines look pretty much the same. We just need to edit them a bit. Okay, so what's it? We need the name label. We need a name label. We need a location label. We need an about label, right? So we're just going to copy these 3 lines, right? Copy them. Come back here. And we could paste them here, right? Okay, so we have a name label, and this is going to be UI label, and for now, the text, we're going to come here and say okay, not that, but here, we're going to say text. Text is going to be a footballer. Okay, like so, right? And then for the location label, we're going to say this is going to be 4,000 kilometers away. So come here, say text. Come here. 4,000 kms away. Spell it correctly. Away, like so. Put a comma there. For the profession label, we want to come here. Say text. This is going to be. Okay, no, not that. Not like that, right? So come here, do this. Come here, say text. Like so. This is going to be that. Put a comma here. Text is going to be a brilliant footballer, right? So we have Sadio there. He's a brilliant footballer. And why is this complaining? Okay, let's just cut this. Cut, come here. Font. Come here, say text, like so. Paste that there. Get rid of the text here, like so. Everything is kosher. And maybe the size here is going to be for the footballer, the size could be, let's say, actually this should be, footballer should be professional label. So maybe we could have just typed it out, right? So we come and say professional label, like so. So you have professional label, and then this is going to be the name label. A brilliant footballer should be the about label. So come here, say this is going to be the about label. What is going to be the font? About label, the font is going to be size. Let's come here and say this is going to be 18, like so. The number of lines is going to be that. The weight is going to be .bold, right? So that's done. So let's see. Professional label, text size is going to be 20. Let's come here and make it 20. What the font weight is going to be, let's say heavy, right? Okay. Then we come and say location label, 4,000 kilometers away. Font size is going to be 16. 16. This is going to be semi-bold, right? A bit lighter. That is done. And we also want the text color to be black, right? So, okay, I'm starting to think that we may not have gained much by copying the code, right? So we need to come here, do that. We need to come here, do this. Need to come here, get rid of that, right? So that's that. We need a name label, okay? Let's just hit Command D, and this is going to be name label. This is going to be UI label, and this is going to be Sadio. Sadio, like Mane. Sadio, like so. And what is Sadio is going to have a font size of 30. That's the biggest. Come here, say 30. The weight is going to be as heavy as possible. So we say black. The number of lines is going to be 0, right? So that's done. That's our in particular. And I don't think professional has 2 Fs. So we do that, we save. And what's the next thing we need is going to be the page control, right? So we need a page control so that you can navigate between the various pages, right? So we have already seen how page control works. So let's do that and come here and we say page control. This is going to be UI page control, like so. Come here, do this, and we do that, and we say here let PC, this is going to be UI page control, like so, and we're going to say PC.current page indicator tint color. This is going to be .system purple, and we come here and we say PC dot hides for single page. Like if you only have one image, right? If you're not a VIP, right, you're not going to see this, right? So that's that. And then we come here and we say, okay, true needs to be that. Then we say here PC dot page indicator tint color, and this is going to be dot system gray, and then we need to come here and we say return PC. That is done. Okay, now we need a couple of things. Let's go to our extensions and we say command F create circular button, right? We haven't created it, and I think we're going to use it in a number of places. So what we'd like to do next is we'd like to create our circular button, right? Now the circular button, because we're going to use it in a number of places. Wait, are we going to use it in a number of places? I'm trying to think, or do we just put it here? Okay, let's put it here. And if we need to use it in a number of places, because I can think of at least one other place where we'd want to use it. Wait, no, we could use a different type of button there. Okay, fine. Let's put it here, right? Because I was thinking, where else would we want to use it, right? I thought we would use it elsewhere, but we probably won't. So let's just put it here, right? And because it's going to be a number of them, so it's going to be 3 of them to be exact, right? This is going to be create circular button. So let's just create a function that spits out a circular button, right? And this is going to have a color. And what's the color? It's going to be UI color, like so. System name, you know what that means, right? You know our way of doing that. We've done this a bunch of times now. Selector, so that you can just pass in the function that you would like to get it to utilize, right? This is going to be UI button. Let's come here and just say let configuration. What's the configuration? Spell it correctly. That's going to be UI image, like so, and this is going to be dot symbol configuration, like so. And here it's going to have we're going to have a point size and weight and scale, right? Point size is going to be 2.5, weight is going to be heavy, scale is going to be large, right? And then we say let image is going to be UI image, like so. Come here, say system name, and it needs configuration. You have seen that a bunch of times. That's just going to be the system name. The configuration is going to be configuration, like so. The width tint color, what's the color? The color is going to be color, and you need it to make it look like that particular color. So come here and you say rendering mode is going to be. Okay, now we need the button in question, right? This is going to be let button, and this is going to be, okay, you could use either type, right? Like you could go between the various types, and we're just going to say type we want it to be custom. I've shown you how to use the configuration method that came with 15 and the old one as I sip my coffee. So pick whichever that you find is most accommodating to your method of programming, right? Okay, so we need an image for the button. So we come here and say button dot set image. What's the image? The image is going to be the particular image, like so. And this, the state is going to be for normal state, right? Not when it's depressed, and depressed is when it's pressed, right? So we say set size. It's going to be let's make it 44 by 44. I believe that's the minimum. Then we say we need to make it a circle, so we say button.layer.corner radius. That's going to be 22. That's half of it. So since the corner radius is half of it, it's going to be circular. You know that by now. button dot add target, and this is going to be a self. Selector is going to be selector. Control event is going to be dot touch up inside, right? Then we come here and we say button dot background color. What's the background color? This is going to be dot white, like so. Then we come here and we say button dot layer dot shadow color, and this is going to be UI color dot black dot core graphic color, right? And then we say button dot layer dot shadow offset, right? And this is going to be core graphic size, like so, and width is going to be 0, height is going to be 0, right? And then we come here and we say width is going to be 4.5, right? This is the shadow, so the height is going to be 4.5. So let's come here and we say this is going to be 4.5, like so. Then we come here and we say button dot layer dot shadow radius, and this can be 8. And we come here and we say button dot layer dot masks, spell it correctly, masks to bounds, and this one is going to be set to false, right? So we do that, and then afterwards we just return. What do we return? Return the particular button, right? So now we have our button in question, and okay, do this, get rid of that, and now we have our function that returns our button, right? Now we need to call it to create a number of buttons. We could create the 3 buttons in question, and the 3 buttons are going to be the like button, the dislike button, and the report button, right? So let's make them. Let's put them up here. Come here, say lazy var. This is going to be called like button. This is going to be called create circular button. The color is going to be dot system green, right? The system name is going to be, we have seen that before, heart.fill. Selector doesn't exist, it's going to be hashtag selector. The Objective-C is going to be called like user, right? Doesn't exist yet. Come here, say lazy var. What's the name? Is going to be dislike button. What's the dislike button? Is going to be the create user circular button. This is going to be dot system red. The system name is going to be xmark. The selector doesn't exist yet. Is going to be hashtag that. It's going to be called, last one, lazy var. This is going to be the report button. This is going to be create circular button. The color is going to be dot system pink. Okay, report some user is going to be pink, not red. But you could change the colors around. That's all on you. Okay. Now, we probably need an SF symbol. So let's come here and we say SF, right? Let's pick that. We probably need an SF symbol that is going to communicate reporting or blocking a user. And as I sip my coffee, my original one was going to be something with an exclamation mark, right? But then I saw one that is really good on WhatsApp, right? It has a palm on it, right? So let's say palm, let's say hand, right? Yeah, hand raised, right? Something like this, right? Hand raised circle, right? Mine was originally something to do with exclamation dot shield, right? So mine was originally this exclamation dot shield dot fill, right? Which is this, right? So that's going to be that, but I saw WhatsApp had something different with a palm or a hand, right? So let's pick the WhatsApp one because maybe it's easier to communicate to a user that, right? So we say hand Okay, something to do with the hand, like this palm that is raised and then maybe a slash across it or something of the sort. Hand, let's see, something to do with the hand, hand, a bag, hand, hand raised slash, hand raised break signal, hand raised. If we could get a hand raised circle and then a slash would be good. Or okay, let's just go with hand raised field, right? Copy name, right? Come here, put it in question, in quotation marks. Selector doesn't exist yet. What's its name? It's going to be selector, like so. And this is going to be report or block user, right? So that's done. These three don't exist. That's going to be the next thing that we're going to tackle. So what we'd like to do is come here and we say create the three of them. So let's come here. The first one is going to be called at Objective-C func. This one is going to be called like user. And what's like user? Like user is just going to be print. We're not going to see it yet, so it's just going to be I like you. So that's done. Come here, say at Objective-C func. This is going to be called dislike user, right? This is going to be print I dislike you, like so. Come here, come with the third one, at Objective-C func. This is going to be called report or block user. Print. This is going to be I have reported you. That is done, right? So that is sorted. What's the next thing we need? The next thing we need to do is we would need to put everything on the screen, right? Because we have been programming for a bit and we have not seen anything so far, right? So let's get to it. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do is let's go to our view did load. And where's our view did load? Okay, we just have a blue page currently. And what we would like to do, instead of the blue, color, like so. Come here, say this is going to be white. This is going to be 0.9. Alpha is going to be 1, right? Come here, say configure scroll view, right? So we call the configure scroll view. Come down here. We are going to create this. It's going to be func configure scroll view, like so. What is it going to be? We're going to add our scroll view. So we say view dot add sub view. What's the sub view? It's going to be the scroll view, right? And it needs to fill a super view. So we come here and we say fill, okay, scroll view, the scroll view that we just had, scroll view dot fill. That's done, right? And now we need to add everything to our scroll view. So we say scroll view dot add sub views, plural, multiple. This is going to be profile image view, like so. This is going to be name label, like so. This is going to be professional label, like so. Then we have our location label, like so. We have our about label, like so. Our crown view, like so. Our page control, okay, what do we call it? Page control, like so. Our report button, like so. And our crown view, like so, right? So we have added basically almost, rather not everything, but almost everything to our scroll view, and you can proceed from there. Now, if we run this, we are going to see, I believe, nothing much, right? So let's run this. Come here, you're going to see nothing. What we want to do is we would like to put our image and make it stretchy, right? So how do you create a stretchy image? So we come here and we say profile image view, like so, which is already on the screen. We're going to give it a frame, and the frame is just going to be CG rect, and this is going to be X. It's going to start at the top left, Y 0, and to it we're going to add 4. Y is going to be 0 plus 4.0, like so, plus, right? We need to add this plus. Then we need to make it clear the height of the navigation, right? So we need to make it clear the height of the navigation bar, right? So because this is all because of we're using a scroll view and we want to make it stretchy, right? So that's going to be, how do we get the height of the navigation bar? Well, to it we need plus the 4. We need to add, this is just, the 4 is just aesthetic, right? So we say navigation controller, like so, dot navigation bar, and to it we want the frame and we want the height. So we say max y, right? Largest value for the y coordinate, right? So we get that, and then we put a bang there, right? So that's basically what we have done there, is we have taken the 0. Okay, why do we even have a 0 here, right? If we're adding 0 to it, we could just do that, right? So we have taken the 0, and to it we have added this. So that's going to be the y, like so, and then the width is going to be we would need the view.frame.width. So we come here and say view.frame.width, like so, view.frame.width, and this is going to be the same. The height is going to be, it's going to be a bit circular, square like, view.frame.width, slightly smaller. So this is going to be view.frame.width multiplied by 0.9, right? 0.9. So we do that. That's going to be that, like so, and that's going to be our profile image view, like so. Let's try and run it and see what it looks like. Hopefully, okay, this is what the 4 is, the space here, right? So this is it. And you know, when you pull down, you see everything is layered on top of each other, right? We have not put them aside or on top of each other, right? So this is what it looks like, right? But now we want, when we pull it down, we want to make the image stretch, right? And you can see all the other elements that are on the scroll view put on the top left corner, right? They're being hidden by a navigation bar, right? So we need to move them around. So the next thing we need to do is going to be the name label. So let's do that. So here we just come and we say, what do we want to put? No, let's start with the page control. Come here, say page control, and this is going to be dot anchor, and this is going to be the top. What's the top going to be? The top is going to be the profile image view dot bottom anchor, like so. The leading is going to be the scroll view, the leading anchor, right? And the padding at the top is going to be, should it be at the top or the bottom? Padding at the bottom, I believe. Padding top, right? It's going to be 8. Let's just say 8.0, right? We're not going to see it because there are no pages. We'll see it later when we put the number, when we increase the number of pages, right? Remember, we don't see it because it doesn't know where to get the pages from. We need to tell it. We have already done with the page view controller. So what we would like to do next is going to be the crown image view. Crown view rather. And this is going to have an anchor. What's the anchor? The anchor is going to be the bottom. Is going to be we haven't done that, so it's actually the report button dot bottom anchor, like so. The trailing is going to be the profile image view dot trailing anchor, like so. Profile image view dot trailing anchor, and then we have the padding top and the padding trailing. Padding top is going to be 8. Padding trailing is going to be 16, right? So that's going to be that. What's the next thing we need to do? we need the report button. So maybe we could even put the report button first. Come here, say report button. And what's the report button? The report button is going to have an anchor. We say anchor. What's the anchor? The report button anchor is going to be the top, is going to be the profile image view. Profile image view dot bottom anchor, like so. The trailing is going to be the profile image view dot trailing anchor. Then the padding at the top. Padding at the top is going to be -25. Why we want it to be -25 is because we want to push it up, right? You're going to see it in a bit, right? So that's going to be -25, and padding trailing is going to be 16, right? So let's have a look at that. You see, this is what it looks like. Okay, this should be above this, right? This crown button should be above this, I believe, right? So what we want it is to put the button here, it's flush on the edge, right? So let's set up the crown view first. The crown view is going to have, let's see. Okay, the page control is supposed to be somewhere here. We'll see that. The crown view is going to have the report button bottom, report button top anchor. Wait, crown view is going to be report button top anchor, right? So this is supposed to be top anchor. Okay, let's do that, and maybe now it's going to be a bit better, right? It's going to look a bit better. So okay, fine, it's here. Maybe too close, right? Too close for comfort, right? So how we do that is maybe we could increase it by saying the report button bottom anchor, padding at the top is -25 here, padding trailing is 16. That's okay. Okay, this looks I also don't like this image, right? Let's see what it looks like with a slash, right? Hand raise slash, right? No, copy name. So we copy the name. Let's look at the hand raise slash first. Okay, do that and see that. Let's see what that looks like, and then we can fix it. Okay. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Maybe the previous one was better. Right? Let's just come here and hand raised fill, right? So that might be a bit better. Let's just look at that. And then we can make the other corrections as we go along, right? Okay, that's better. Now, the next thing we need to do is we do have in particular our crown view, our report button. Let's put the other labels. That is the name, the profession, the about, and the location label on the screen, right? So what we're going to do is we are going to, and first, yeah, let's start with the report button, right? This is what it looks like. And when you put the -25 here, that means that the padding at the top, since it's going to be negative and we're putting it at the bottom anchor, right? That means that it's going to be pushed. And remember the size of the button. Wait, what's the size of the button? This is supposed to be, this should be 22, right? So half the button is inside and half of it is outside. This works if it's 50, right? So this should be -22, like so. And this is what it looked like, right? Now, supposing we decided that we would like to make it 22, so that you can see exactly what happens, why we're doing -22, right? So look at that, or look at this, right? If we come here, look at this, it's going to be below, right? So we want to push it into the element, right? So we want to push it into the image, right? So for that, we say -22. And of course, the crown view takes its location relative to the other button. So if you move one, you have to move the other, right? So let's do that and give it a second. Come here, do this, and now it's pushed inside. And here we have the report button as being that, and the crown view is going to be the report button, top anchor. The trailing is going to be profile image view, trailing anchor. Padding at the top is going to be 8. Padding, trailing. Let's say padding instead of top here, right? Let's say padding for this particular. Let's say padding bottom, right? For the crown view, right? So for the crown view, bottom is going to be, let's say 8, right? And do that 8, like so, 8 comma, right? Run this. Okay, there's a bit of space in between, right? So that's a bit better, right? Yeah, that's a bit better. And we have our button, and if we check our button and wait, not a new note. If you check our button, you see that when you are they connected? Oh, we'll check that in a bit, right? So we will check that in a bit. I have reported you, right? So that means that the button is actually working as it should. Let's just check that. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is the actual name label and whatnot, right? So let's do that, and we say name label like so, anchor, and this is going to be the we could put it to the page control. Let's say the top is going to be the page control. Okay, page control dot bottom anchor like so. The leading is going to be the scroll view dot leading anchor like so. The padding at the top 8, 7 or 8, 8. Let's make it 8, right? Padding leading 8, right? Like so. What's the next one? It's gonna look a lot like this. So we do Command D, Command D, Command D, right? So that's going to be, the next one is going to be the professional label. So come here, say professional label, like so. The anchor, the top is going to be the name label. Name label dot bottom anchor. Leading is going to be scroll view leading anchor. Top is going to be 8. Padding leading is going to be 8, right? Then the next one is going to be the about label, right? About label top is going to be the professional label, the one before it, right? So we come here and we say professional label dot bottom anchor. Leading is going to be scroll view leading. Padding top is going to be 8, and padding leading is going to be 8, right? Then we finally we get to location label. Let's get rid of that. That's going to be location label like so. Anchor is going to be top anchor is going to be about label dot bottom anchor. About label dot bottom anchor. Leading is going to be scroll view dot leading anchor. Padding top is going to be that. Padding leading is going to be that, right? So if we have done everything as it should be, we should see some sort of image glorious on the screen. Let's put an image there. Okay, somewhat. So we have Sadio is a footballer, brilliant footballer. Okay, yeah, and he's 4,000 kilometers away. Of course, all this is going to be that's not how it's going to be. Let's see what happens when you try stretching stuff, right? So when you move that, everything moves down, but that's not what we want to do, right? We want to make sure that when we stretch it, only the image stretches. And there's also something we have not done. We have not put the buttons on the screen, right? So let us proceed. So what we want to do is the functionality that is going to make the image stretch, right? Okay, so what we do is we're going to have a scroll view method. Remember, we did make this a scroll view delegate. So what we want to do is before the circular button, let's come here and we say scroll view did scroll. That one, scroll view did scroll. So we get the change in the y-axis. So we say let change y. Change y is going to be negative scroll view dot center dot scroll view dot content offset dot y. So we get that, and then we could print the change, right? So that you can see it first. Let's print it. We say print y, or it's called change y, whatever they call whatever we called it, right? So change the y displacement, the change in y, that's it, the y displacement, right? Come here, do this, and you see it, do that, and you see it, do that, and it's negative. We've already gone over negative and positive, so I'm sure you know. Like it's an inverted Cartesian plane. So if you go down, it's positive on the y-axis, that is. If you go up, it's negative, right? So that's it. So what we want to do is we want to calculate the width. We're going to have two variables. We're going to say var width, and width is just going to be view.frame dot width, and we are going to add to it plus change y. Actually, this is just something you get online, right? So I didn't like play around until I found something I liked. I just got this and I thought it works well, right? So you could get like the values that would make a scroll view essentially increase, right? According to the level of scrolling, right? And the maximum, so that it doesn't go negative, is either going to be view the frame, the width, or the width, right? And then we're going to apply this to the particular profile image, right? So we come in and say profile image view, like so, and it's going to have a frame, and the frame is going to be a rectangle. So we say CG rect, like so, and X, Y, and width and size, right? So we get that like so. X is going to be either the minimum, never goes negative, right? Minimum of 0 or negative, change Y. Y is going to be same, minimum of 0 or negative, change Y. Width is going to be, okay, no, let's add minimum of 0, negative. Why is it complaining? This needs a comma, right? Because it's going to get either the minimum of that. The width is going to be the actual width, like so. The height is going to be the width multiplied by 0.9, right? Like so. So we do that, and minimum change y. Y is going to be minimum change y plus, and to it, what we want to add is going to be 4.0, like so. And to it, we would like to add the navigation controller dot, basically what we did up there, navigation bar, and we just want the frame dot max y, and we put a bang like so, right? So that's going to be the the y. It's going to oscillate between those values, right? So if we do that, presumably we will have done a lot of the heavy lifting, right? Let's do that. So let's run it and see whether or not it works, right? Okay, come here, do this. And now when you move the image, see the image increases and displaces everything on the screen, but the same doesn't happen. In particular, the same doesn't happen to the, what's it called? The same doesn't happen to the same, that happens, but the same won't happen rather to the images, the buttons that we're going to put, right? We're going to put the other buttons. If you can remember, we did create a couple of buttons, and the buttons we created are the one for liking the user. You should be able, maybe you came here and you saw the user's other images, and you should be able to like the user from this page, right? We want the ability to like the user from this page. That's why we make the like and the dislike button, right? And we have not used them. And so what we'll do is let us put them on the screen, and we want to put them on the screen such that they're always visible to the user, right? So let us do that, right? So what we want to do is we would like to come here, and we're just going to call a function. We can put them on a function, and this function is going to be called func set up. Okay, what's it? Setup button controls. And this is going to be we're going to hide them depending on whether or not you have liked a user before, right? This is just something that it's going to be useful why we're doing this later on, because we want to reuse this page, but right now it's not going to be useful. Like, why are we trying to hide them? So for example, we're going to be reusing this page, like in case when you have matched with a user, right? And you want to go to their particular page, right? And look at them and maybe see their images, you have to come to this page, right? So this is going to be functionality that is going to be useful to us in the future. Maybe not right now, but in the future it's going to be pretty useful. So let's see what that is going to be. That's going to be stack. Stack is going to be UI stack view, like so. So we have UI stack view, and here we're going to have arrange subviews, and we have an array here. And this is going to be the dislike button, like so. Then we're going to have the like button. So we have the like and the dislike, and we need to distribute them. So we say here stack dot distribution is going to be fill, okay, dot fill equally, like so. And then we say view dot add subview. What's the add subview? The add subview in question is going to be the particular stack, like so. Then we're going to say stack, and we need to anchor it, right? So we say anchor. What's the anchor going to be? The anchor, we're going to say bottom. What's the bottom? The bottom is going to be view dot safe area layout guide. We want it to clear the bottom. Dot bottom anchor, like so. And the padding at the bottom is going to be 8.0, right? Like so. And then we're going to center it. We say stack dot center and center X on the X axis in the particular view, and the view is going to be the view, like so. And then we're going to say whether or not it's hidden. Stack dot is hidden. This is going to be set to hide, whatever hide is, right? So it's a boolean, right? And then we are going to say stack dot spacing. What's the spacing? Make it 40. So we do 40, like so. That's going to be that. We need to set it up by calling it in the view did load. So come here, view did load, and this is going to be what do we need? We need to call it set up button controls, right? Where do we call it? Set up button controls. Let's just call it in the view did load, right? Come here. I can't see it on my notes. Set up button controls. And the hide, where is hide? Hide is going to be let's say false. False, right? It has to be the opposite, right? So let's run this and then we can see it. Okay. Okay, so we see it here. And you will notice that this is not affected by us moving this up and down, right? So they look a bit tiny. Okay, let's just make it 50, right? 50, like so. 50, then make this 25. Come up here, play around with the figures until you find something that is a bit chunky and you like. And we need to change it. We need half of it inside, half of it outside for that particular button on the scroll view. I'm forgetting the name of the button, but the one with the negative 22. Let's make it negative 25, right? So this is going to be a bit better. And we can proceed from there, if that is correct. Okay, here's a bit chunkier. And we see, I like you. I dislike you. I like you. I dislike you. And more importantly, they're not affected by our scrolling or the scroll view. So now the next thing we need to do is let's put an alert on our report, or when you're reporting or blocking the user. We probably farm it out to I'm trying first to think where we would also want to block a user, and I think this is the only place, right? Or thereabouts, right? So let's put the alert here, right? Because I'm not sure where else we would need to block a user. So here, when you say this, you say I've reported you. For now, what we're going to do is we're going to come here and we say something like let alert is going to be UI alert controller, like so. And here we're going to have a title, and the title of the message in the preferred style. And this for now is going to be action on plus, let's concatenate, right? And to it, we're going to concatenate. What are we going to concatenate? The name, in this case, it's going to be Sadio. And to it, we are going to say the message is going to be an empty string. The preferred style is going to be .action sheet, like so, right? And we come here and we say alert .add action. And this is going to be UI alert action title for handler, like so, title style, right? The title is going to be report, and the style is going to be not destructive, although we are going to see something destructive in a bit. We're going to say the default. And what's the default going to be? The default and the handler here, this is going to be alert in, and that's going to be print. What are we going to print? For now, we're just going to say reported. Later on, we're going to be doing stuff on that, right? And then we're going to come in to say alert.add action. What's the action? It's going to be UI alert action title style handler, like so. Title is going to be block concatenated with Sadio, style destructive. Hit this, and this can be action or alert. For now, it's just going to be action. In here, we're just going to print blocked in caps. Okay, right? And we need to add this too. So we say, we also need a cancel, right? So we say alert dot add action. What's that? Is going to be UI alert action, the title and the style. This is going to be something like cancel, and this is going to be dot cancel, right? So that's that, and we need to present it, of course. After we do all this, you need to present it. So we come here and we say present. What do we want to present? We want to present the alert, like so. And animation is always good, so we say animated is going to be true, right? So we do all these things, and presumably, if we do them, we are going to get the correct result, right? Okay, let's see it in action. Come here, hit this, run, and you're going to get, let's come here, and this is going to be Sadio, okay? And if we hit this, we get action on Sadio. Maybe put a space before that. Run it. Report. I have reported you. Wait. Okay, when you hit this, you get I reported you. And then you get reported, right? This should be something blocked, right? So it's working the way we want. Action on, and we have report, and we hit cancel. You can just cancel it. So it's working the way. Let's not do that, right? It's working the way we think it should have, right? And what we want to do next is we would like to ensure that we can navigate through the image, right? So what I've done, I did it off camera. I just realized now. I added 3 images, right? So just get 4 images in total. Right now it doesn't matter because we are still building it out. We have not yet connected the backend. So what we want to do is when you tap on this right half, you go to the next picture. And when you tap on the left half, you go to the previous picture, right? So how would we get that? Well, the easiest way would be just to get the view, the width of the image. And then if you are on the right side, if the location is on the right side past the halfway point, you check on that. And then if it is, just cycle through images, right? So let us actually do that. So the first thing we're going to do is we would need to add a gesture recognizer on the image, right? Remember, this is actually an image rather than just merely being, this is actually an image rather than it being like a button, right? Like in other cases where we have used buttons. This is an image, right? Which is in the profile screen, we use the button. Here we're just going to use an image. If you tap on it, you can cycle through. And where we're going to do that, that's going to be in the view did load, right? So for the view did load, what we would want to do is we would want to come here and we say profile image view dot add gesture recognizer. This is going to be UI tab gesture recognizer, like so. It's going to have a target. What's the target? The target is going to be the self, like so. The action is going to be hashtag selector. Objective-C method is going to be handle tap, like so. Doesn't exist yet, right? And we need to enable user interaction. So we could also do that in the same, right? By coming here and we say profile, image view, like so. Is user interaction enabled? This is a boolean that should return true, right? So we allow a user to cycle through our images, right? And maybe also let's call a function that is going to load our images, right? Come here, say load images, like so, right? Okay, what do we handle first? Maybe we should load our images, right? So let's come here to the very bottom, right? Come here, say func load images, so it stops complaining. And what we want to do is just say guard let image1 is going to be UI image, like so. This one is going to be called named, and this is going to be called whatever it's called, Liverpool, right? Else you're just going to return, right? We need to copy it a bunch of times. Come here, copy this, right? Come here, copy this, paste it a bunch of times, paste, come here, paste, come here, paste, right? And this is going to be image 2. What's image 2? Woman 1. Come here, this is going to be woman 2, and come here, this is going to be woman 3, right? So we have that. We have image 1, image 2, image 3. This should be 3, of course, and image 4, right? So we call that. Our load images will stop complaining, hopefully. Will stop being an error. Let's go to it. Okay, it's in the load. Yes, so our load images is working, but we don't have handle tap. Now we handle our tap next, right? So after we set that, okay, we should also think about making sure that our page control is in sync with this, right? So even as we're writing this code, right? So let's move load images. It's at the bottom here. I normally put out my functions above the Objective-C functions, right? It's just quirk. Nothing you have to follow. So let's do that. Okay. Now the next thing we need to do is let's come here and say at Objective-C func. This one is going to be called handle tap. What is handle tap going to do? It's going to take a gesture, and we just seen one of those. UI tap gesture, like so, recognizer. And let's first print. Okay, make sure it works, right? Okay, command us, run this, right? Come here. Okay, so we can tap on our image, right? Now, if we want to see where we have tapped in the image, we should just say let tap location. Tap location is just going to be gesture dot location in, and we say nil, like so, right? And then we could say here print that, right? Run this and you can see. Come here and we see this is going to be, this is the tap location, right? Get this, right? This 68 all the way to 367, right? So you see the values go essentially from about 4, so we had 6 there, about 4 all the way to the end, right? Because we do have, no, we don't have any space. So it actually goes from 0 all the way to the very end, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to divide that by 2, and if you tap on the other half, like somewhere around 425, right? If you tap on like 220 something, you go on this side. If it's below that, you stay on this side. And we're going to use that information to decide whether or not to show the next image, right? So if you can remember, I believe we did make our images, we did create alternative images, image index, right? So I call them alternative because when I was building, I had a different idea of a solution of what I was going to do when I was building, but then I changed it to something a bit more simpler. So don't worry about that name. Anyway, we don't want our location anymore. We could get rid of it, or you could keep it if you want it, right? So we say if alternative images dot count is going to be greater than 1, that is, we are going to be building for the VIP user who has access to everything, right? We should say that we're going to put all the images in there, right? So we're going to say let should advance, and this is going to be where the magic is going to happen. Should advance. What is should advance? Should advance is going to be tap location dot x is greater than view dot frame dot width divide by 2, right? So this should be, if this is the case, if the tap location is greater than the width divided by 2, this should be either true, and if not, it should be this should be, wait, it's a ternary, so this should be either be true. If it's not greater than, it should be false, right? So based on that, we could come here and we say if should advance, we come here and we say image index plus equals 1, right? And then we're saying if image index is greater than alternative images dot count minus 1. So if you ever tap and tap until you get to the end, we just leave it there, right? So image index is going to be alternative images dot count minus 1, right? We know they're going to be at a maximum of 4 images, so you could use 4, you could work with 4, but that is, we are assuming that maybe the user has put in 3 images, the VIP user has put maybe they only have 2 nice photos, right? So they have only put 1 photo, right? And this is not a unary prefix, we need equal space around, so we do that. So that's why we're using alternative images. We are setting it to alternative images.count when we know they're going to be 4, a maximum of 4, right? So because the user might decide not to fill out all the images, you can remember how it looks like in the profile, right? In the profile here, the user might want to put an image here and an image here, right? But not all 4, right? It's going to be open. That's why we're doing it like this. Okay, and after that, we're just going to come here and say profile, image view, and the image in question is going to be image index, okay, is greater than or equal to 0, and for that we're going to say alternative images image index, or it's going to be alternative images, the first one, right? Alternative images, the first one, right? It's pretty self-explanatory, right? The image that you're going to show, you're going to check if the image index is greater than or equal to 0. If it is, you're just going to put in the index. If not, you're going to leave the very first image that you find there, right? You're going to leave it at the very first image, right? Of course, at some point, you're going to have to populate this, right? We're going to populate the number of all the images on the, put them all in the alternative images index, right? So that's something we might want to do. Okay, right? Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to check if we're not advancing. If we're not advancing, we just do the opposite, right? Else, come here. And what we want to do is we want to set the image index. Come here, say image index is going to be negative equal 1, right? And then we say if you run to the problem opposite to this, if image index is less than 0, somebody's trying to go negative, just leave it at 0, right? Image index is going to be 0. That's done, right? Now, the next thing after that is just make sure that the image is profile image view dot image, and we're going to check whether the image index is greater or equal to 0, and this is going to be alternative images, like so, and we're going to get the image index, like so, and here, or if not, we're going to set the alternative images to position. I think it should be anyway, we'll test it in a bit, right? I'm not so sure about that code, right? So what we want to do is let's see, there's a function here. When we load our images, we need to put them all in alternative images. So come here, say alternative images, and we want to append, and you could append them each element, like new element image 1, new element image 2. But if you have an array, you could just come here and say contents of, and then the sequence, we're just going to say image 1, image 2, image, and then finally that is done, right? So let us run this and see this. If we've done everything according to plan, Okay. Okay. Yes, we switch. We go to the next image and we go to the final image, right? And when we hit this, we go to the previous image, right? So, and when we hit it again, it doesn't go. When we go, we go, we go, we go. So it doesn't ever get out of bounds, right? It never gets out of bounds. And you can also stretch them. They're still stretchable. You can see that. So that's that, right? So our images are working, but there's one thing that is a matter. One problem. One teeny tiny problem. We don't get the page indicator to tell us how many images in what position we are, or whether there are more images, right? So if we have the page here, we'll know that we should scroll and see more images, right? Or we should tap and see more images. So how do you do that? That's pretty straightforward. We already have our page control, I believe. Right, so what we would do is we could set up the page control. Let's come here and create a function. Let's come to the bottom, or here, right? We're going to have a function. What's the function going to be called? It's going to be called set page controls, and it's going to do exactly what you think it is, right? Which is going to be self dot page control dot number of pages is going to be set to alternative images.count in case the user doesn't use up all their 4 pages, right? Then we're going to come here and we say func set selected page to, like so. It's going to take a page which is going to be an integer, like so, and we're just going to come here and we say page control. We can even ditch the self, I believe, here. We can just say page control, come here, say page control. We have page control, and current page is going to be the page that's passed in. So that's going to be changing, and that's going to be that. And what we want after this, alternative images, is going to be set page controls, right? Now, if we run this, remember we put it on the screen, but it wasn't showing because we only had one image. Or rather, we're not telling it where the data source is. Now we've told you that the alternative images is the data source. So if we come here, we should see, oh, okay, we ballsed it up. It's not supposed to be here. It's supposed to be superimposed onto the image. So let's fix it, right? But if we go here, right, and if you tap, it doesn't remain in sync, right? So we need to make sure that it remains in sync. And how do we do that? Where does the tapping occur? When the tapping occurs here, what we want to do is just come and say, we want to say set selected page to image index, right? And we need to repeat the trick by coming here, copying this, repeat the trick. Okay, right? So that is going to be that. And let's see this. Let's come here. And now when we tap it, it goes to second, third, fourth, and we hit this. Then we go back here and we hit that. So it's working, right? It's working, but it's just in the wrong location. So that's the problem we need to do. It's working, but it's not where it's supposed to be, right? So how we would do that is probably go to page control and anchor it at the bottom anchor, and then center it in the particular view, and then probably should we push it inwards or push it okay, and then padding at the top. So it's actually, wow, it's actually where it's supposed to be, right? I'm looking at my notes and realizing that so let's go back to where it is, right? Let's first center it. Here it is, profile image view, that so and so. Okay, we just need to come here and say page control dot center x in view, and the view is going to be scroll view. So we do the center x, come back here, seat, and now we have this. Right now you could have it here, or you could put it on a background, like you could push it inwards, right? Just like the way we push this in. We could say padding top is going to be -8. Let's see that. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. 8. Okay, let's say negative 16. Come here. Or you could put it on a background, right? I'm just going to leave it at 8, right? Let's let it stew on that a bit. We'll figure it out later, right? But now our view looks exactly how we want it to look like, right? So, or more or less, right? So we have the name, what he does. He's a brilliant footballer, how far he is, and all that. And we have this snazzy back button, and we can stretch, right? So this is all we wanted to do for this section. You can scroll to our images, right? So this is all we have, and we can have this where you can report and block, and it tells us that this user is this particular user is a VIP, right? So we have everything we need, and we can proceed from there. See you in the next video.